Okay, so Ashley Eliza has a video out here that is called The Hypocrisy of Degenerate Men. And, parts of it are pretty good. I think I get her point exactly. They're these like pickup artists and shit. And they're out fucking all the girls they can get their hands on. And then, when they decide to settle down, they bitch because there aren't any, virgins or good girls or whatever. I understand that point. I've made that point myself. They're bitching that there are no women that, are valued. They're sluts and all this shit. And they're fucking all the virgins in Eastern Europe. How does that make sense? But so I understand your point there. But the second half of your video, I have a couple of disagreements with. Number one, you're blaming men for smashing and dashing. I understand your point. That's mean. I just one night stands and ghosting and whatever, stuff like that. But my point to you, Ashley, will be it is still the woman who has to agree. Despite what you're saying, and I know what you mean about the smash and dash guys, the woman still has 100% of the choice to sleep with this guy or that guy or no guy or whatever, right? It's still her. All a man can do is ask. Okay, we're talking about consensual sex here, right? Not crime. Would you like to have sex? She says yes, or she says no, or she says maybe, or whatever the case may be. The point is, it's entirely 100% the female's choice on who to have sex with. You can blame the scumbags that are out doing the pump and dump and all this. And I understand, but the women still have to agree. Okay, let's start the video and see what she has to say.
And these guys mostly come up with their dumb excuses of a key can open a bunch of locks, but a lock can only be opened by one key or something to justify how it's noble and great to have sex with like tons of women without ever even thinking about the consequences.
Did you get that projection there about the consequences, boys? Yeah, we'll get to that in a minute. The phrase is something more on the order of a master key can open any lock, but a shitty lock can be opened by any key. And you're talking about consequences. These men don't understand the consequence. Are you kidding me? Are you projecting female onto male stuff? There can be no consequences for women, Ashley. That's why we have a huge welfare state. That's why we have abortion. We have birth control pills and so on and so forth. Everything to alleviate females of any consequences for their behavior. And you're trying to say, man, oh, jeez, okay.
But if a woman chooses to do it, she's a whore or she's a slut or she is not being traditional enough or something.
Who makes the choice to have sex? Just a very, very, very simple question. Who gives the okay?
Or she's indulging in this whole feminist ideology. It just doesn't really make that much sense.
No, that's exactly what it is. Women have been told for decades, you go girl, you can do just like the men. All those men were out fucking everybody in sight. You can do the same thing because you're equal and rah, 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 and fishes and bicycles and all that shit. The reality of it, Ashley, and I know you're young, you don't remember any of this stuff or choose not to look into it. Back in the 50s, when my father was a young man, he's 20s or something like that. This is the 50s, where, everybody's all, oh my God, we're all virgins and all this shit. He was getting more ass than a toilet seat. In the 50s, anytime he wanted to have some sex, he was out there and he found some chick that'll put it out for him. Starting in the 60s, we had the sexual revolution, where women were told all men acted like my father. They were just out getting laid all over. No. It's only the desirable men that had the opportunity to do that. And what the sexual revolution did, Ashley, is it gave the desirable men more options. Your average man's not out getting a lot more sex than they used to back in the 50s or 60s or whatever. It's the top guys, the ones that women are all attracted to, that are laying pipe like a freaking oil rig commander.
And then they say stuff like, oh, it takes so much effort to have sex with a girl. Like,
it does. It's very, very difficult for your average dude to have sex with, especially let's be honest. I mean, if you want to go to a bar, 2:00 in the morning, couple of garbage bags cover, the bag the face. And, okay, yeah, I think a lot of guys could probably go down that path. I'm talking about, women like you, fairly attractive ladies. It's almost fucking impossible because men at your level or lower, you don't even see them. You just see men higher than you. That's the hypergamous instinct. And there's nothing wrong with that. The monkey branching bit, okay, that's different. But hypergamy, trying to find the best mate above your, that's fine. It's fine. But it is very difficult for average men to get laid like an average woman. That is just freaking reality.
Like, it's prideful. It's like something to be really proud of if you can get some high notch count. And I mean,
there may be a certain subset of guys that are in the pickup artists, maybe the Rouge V's kind of guys or whatever. But I think that's a very, very small percentage of men. And frankly, Ashley, they could be lying because some guys were in PUA stuff as a business. Do you see?
not really. If there's girls out there who are having sex with like 30 different guys by the time they're 25 or something, is it really that hard for a guy to have sex with some random girl?
It depends on standards. If you're talking, 2 o'clock closing time at the bar, like I just mentioned, it's probably moderately difficult. But someone who is decent and not some land fucking whale or something like that, no, it's extremely difficult for average guys. Me, Mr. Fat Average Guy. For the top shelf men that you are looking at, you're looking up, you're seeing all these guys with all these girlfriends. That's not all men. That's just them because women desire them.
Not really. So why are they praising having a high notch count as some sort of real man situation?
She might be trolling us here because she's got to know it's a hell of a lot easier for most women to get dick than it is for most men to get, vagina. She's got to know that. Maybe she doesn't.
And then shaming others who don't. Then these male thoughts or these Chad bros reach like 30 and they start complaining that there's no more good women left and that they're all sluts. And that's just because that's all they've ever interacted with. They've only been trying to get their notch count or find the easiest lay or find some chick that they can just hook up with and then ghost. I forget what they say. They say pump and dump or something.
Or smash and dash or, pump and dump and stuff like that. It's interesting you bring up that magical age of 30 where men say there are no good women left. Do you hear the same thing from women? All the good guys are gone. I'm going to have to settle.
So perhaps they have had multiple STDs. Maybe they have a few bastard children running around or something.
A few bastard children. Oh, God, I don't know about you guys. We used to say as a joke, they'd say, hey, do you have any kids? Not that I know of. Yeah. Oh, Ashley, I do not have statistics, but I have gut feeling and life experience. I can tell you the vast majority of men do not have bastard children running around.
But they choose to blame women for all of this in society.
Because a lot of it has to do with women. Again, if you're talking about sex, intercourse, consensual, she has to make that decision. The man can't. She does. And we'll get to single motherhood here shortly.
You can say that these women had horrible taste and that women are the gatekeepers of sex or something.
They are. Without 100%, the gatekeepers of sex. They decide who to have sex with, when to have sex with, how to have sex with. It's completely, totally, 100% on the female.
But men do have a say in what goes on.
Yeah, like we have a say if she gets pregnant, right? Oh, reproductive rights. That's not for men. No, the only say we have is, excuse me, would you like to go fuck? And you answer yes or no. That's all we have to say about it. Are you getting this yet?
Are we just gonna say that men can't really choose what to do and they all have to succumb to their monkey brain or something?
There is some monkey brain thinking, yeah, because we want to reproduce and spread our seed or whatever like we did back in the caveman days. But still, she has to say yes.
Men seem to be exempt from any sort of responsibility in these situations.
Did you just say men are absolved of all responsibility in these situations? What in God's name are you talking about?
Nowadays, with these videos propping up saying women are the cause of this, feminism destroyed family, feminism destroyed all this stuff.
Yeah, that was the idea with feminism, is to destroy the family. You should read a little famous book, The Communist Manifesto. See what it has to say about removing children from their parents and destroying the nuclear family because it's the smallest oppressive unit. Oh my God, please. You gotta be smarter than this, right?
But it doesn't acknowledge what contribution men had in this.
We asked.
Especially the guys who like to blame single mothers a lot and blame them for the complete collapse of society.
Men can't fully blame women for this because men, mostly, back in the 60s, put into effect all of these welfare programs, all of this free money, all these food stamps, all the EBTs, the WIC cards, the Section 8 housing, and all of these things. Here you go, ladies. If you fuck up, we'll pay for it. Meaning the government. So men have the blame for that. But women, Ashley, for God's sake, really? There's abstinence. There's condom. There's birth control pill. There's IUD. There's after morning pill. There's abortion. There's adoption. There's firehouse babies. There is no reason a female in the United States in current year ever has to have a baby if she does not choose to. So yes, if she is pregnant, she has 100% of the responsibility of that. Because like that, she can be unpregnant. Go to a Planned Parenthood clinic. Number 2, if she decides to keep the baby, the man has no say except to pay. Do you understand this?
Like, who's causing these single mothers? Who's having sex with these women and then abandoning their kids, essentially?
Who is allowing these type of men to have sex with them? Unprotected, not taking birth control, which is virtually free. Title X, I put it in your comments section. Go look that up. They're having a big shit fit about that right now. But essentially, it's birth control and stuff for poor women, right? Everybody has access, and you can always use the old condom method. Or, God forbid, you could just do a little heavy petting, and you don't have to have it. I mean, it's just, come on.
Like, it's not only the woman. The guy had a play in it too. And if you're just absolving him from any sort of responsibility with these single mother situations, it just doesn't seem fair, really.
Now, the only men that can be absolved, as you say, of not having to pay for their children with child support or whatever, are men who actually don't exist. If somebody has a job and a social security number and a tax return and an address, the government will find you. They will find you and conveniently remove the child support right from your paycheck. So you don't even have to bother writing a check. Like, who has time for that since they're out pumping and dumping all these hoes everywhere? There is no way a man can just pump and dump, drop his seed, get a chick knocked up, and ghost. That is a myth from years ago when there wasn't the internet and there wasn't such sophisticated tracking of people. The government knows where these men are. They just go and take their money. And a side note, she doesn't even have to name the right guy. She could just point at a random dude. Oh, I had sex with him about that time. He's the father. Get a DNA test. Oh, no. No.
Because if he's allowed to go around and be a thought, maybe have like 3 different kids out there, and then 3 different single mothers.
Do you realize that some men in the audience, Ashley, probably younger men, they've not had 3 women in their life? Think about that.
So it just doesn't seem fair to place all the blame on them when it's the thought's fault for just doing that.
Yes, the ghosting, if they can get away with it, I seriously doubt in 2019 they can. But men who go and do that sort of thing, yeah, they're shitheads. They're douchebags. They should not be doing that. But again, Ashley, who is choosing the douchebag? Who has 100% of the choice?
These guys just seem like they're scapegoating with women's liberation or feminism and all these other things, or women being sluts and women being the gatekeepers of sex and all these things.
Do you know what the out-of-wedlock birth rate was in 1964, Ashley? It was about 10%. So 1 out of 10 kids was born out of wedlock. And it was, there was some shame involved and whatever. And then we have abortion, birth control pills, and, 20 different forms of birth control available to women on the cheap, usually, except an IUD is kind of expensive. I'll give you that. It's like $600. It's not the same price as an abortion. Oh, yeah. But that's another story. Do you know what the out-of-wedlock birth rate in the United States is today? Would you like it? You think it's 10%? 5%? With all these great advancements in science for birth control, and there's always been condoms and other stuff. Do you know what the rate is, Ashley? Out-of-wedlock birth rate in the United States. 70% of children are born out of wedlock to black women. Let that sink into your head. 70%. 30% of white kids are born to out-of-wedlock mothers. Something like 50% of Hispanic women have kids out of wedlock. It averages out to 40%. 4 out of 10 kids in the United States are born out of wedlock. With the availability of all of these wonderful scientific things, and abortion, and adoption, and all of these things, for some reason, the number of out-of-wedlock births has gone up substantially. But don't blame feminism.
And how it's so easy for a woman to get laid, but they completely acknowledge the guys who are contributing to this as well. And while I do advocate for women to make better decisions, the guys out there who are doing this are also contributing to the decline of society.
I agree. Like I said, I agree with some of your video. I disagree with other parts of it. But again, Ashley, I have to make the point one more time. Who is making the decision to sleep with these douchebags? 100% female. Link below. James Maxwell, thank you for listening.